All right, are we live here? Let me do a check on everything. How's everybody doing today? Looks like I am live. So I'm going to be doing some Sunday evening review of stock charts. I have a watch list of stocks of different setups, technical setups that I'm kind of following. And here, I could kind of show the little see the custom app that I built here where I have this checklist of stocks that I've traded recently or I noticed an interesting technical setup. And I'm just going to be working my way down the list. And I'm not going to be commenting much on fundamentals. If you do have questions, go ahead and ask me. Oh, wait a second. Am I streaming? All right. Sorry about the technical difficulties there. All right. Now let's get back to the stonks. So, SPY, the S&P 500 index, we have kind of a regression of about 6% right now from the all-time highs. But the market's been kind of steady straight down. If we were to draw some trend lines here, we could draw one right there. And this trend line is also steepening a bit. So I'm going to be looking for that trend line break to kind of tell me when we might be getting a reversal. And when I draw these trend lines, they're just kind of approximations of points of interest there that I'm looking out for. So like if in the middle of the day I get an alert that it crosses up above this, I might go bring up my phone app and start looking at what the prices are in certain stocks, maybe buy some because that would be a good indication that the market's starting to turn around. But as far as like what I want to buy, that's kind of what I want to go through with the watch list right now. So the first one I have on my watch list is this MP Materials stock. Now, what I find interesting about this chart is that it's trending higher. We got a little bit of symmetry there, but let's see. There's this uptrend to watch there. And I'll go ahead and put an alert there as like a stop area on that uptrend. But a lot of times when I draw an uptrend like that, I want to see if it comes near that because sometimes these stocks, they'll come back to like where the trend line is running and they'll bounce off of that trend line. So I'll set another alert just ahead of it so that I could see if there's like a possible bounce or something like that coming. But what's interesting about this is notice the volume here. You've got decreasing volume and then it's holding this ground up here above this like 23.5 level. That seems to be a area of support, and then it's breaking through this trend line right there. So I think this one looks like it's getting ready for another leg up. You see here on Friday it held this low here, bounced, and it's made a higher low. Now MP Materials, bring up the company profile here. They're a company that specializes in rare earth materials, and they've got mines here in the continental United States. And this is the sort of thing that's probably going to be benefited by the whole protectionary trade setup that the Trump administration is going for, the trade protections. We're trying to get more domestic production of goods. I think this could be a beneficiary of that. So like from a like fundamental story standpoint, I think this is a really good setup. And I actually have a buy order in it to see like if it dips tomorrow morning, I'm going to buy a few shares. Okay, now next, let's see, let me double check here on the stream status. Lower than recommended bit rate. I'm gonna have to upgrade my internet service here. Still trying to figure out this OBS studio All right, so John Deere. I actually had an order down here. Well, actually, my order was on at 470. It ended up getting filled and picking up some shares here last week. This one's an interesting stock because it has this breakout area here to all-time new highs, and it just keeps on going even when the market's pulling back. So this is actually one of my favorite setups right now for a breakout sort of thing. And look at this nice little you got the decrease in volume here coinciding with this little bull flag. And I think this is what Mark Minervini likes to call the volatility contraction pattern, the VCP. So this could be a very powerful long-range breakout. Let's see here on my account. I got some DE there. So okay, so next one, the next breakout that I'm looking at here is McKesson, and this one is early in this breakout and it's just setting up. The thing that I'm a little bit concerned about was that it's already had such a really good run up. If we were to draw a trend line like right here, so it has this long range trend line and it's pretty far away from that. So it hit this all-time high here, was the third tap of it, but it hit it with a lot of speed coming from here. So it's pretty strong, but I think this one could potentially come in and rest a little bit. But it's one that I'm watching. If it pulls back to the 600s, I would probably be a buyer here. But I don't know. It might come back down all the way to the 200 DMA. So where am I going to set my alerts? I'll probably set my alert here just ahead of 600. And hopefully we get that pullback to the 200-day moving average. All right, now ADT chart, that was another one that was breaking out. This one, it's kind of in the middle. Not very interested in it. Oh, by the way, I need to go back to my notes. Put these on my watch list in my note system. Okay, McKesson. Upside break continuing. I'll put it on my watch list for Monday. Same with MP. Favorite, I'll call it VCP continuation. So I'm doing these live streams kind of to produce some content as I'm going through my regular weekend stock note process. All right, here we got the upside break continuation, came back to the breakout zone, and yeah, I like the way this one is I think one of the better setups that I've seen going on in this market. Okay, how's my audio? Checking my audio there. Okay. All right, next. So Chef was one that I did ride for a little bit. Post my trades there. Man, so a lot of these stocks, I leave a lot on the table. I set these orders in advance, and they hit, but sometimes I need to leave some on the table to take more incremental profits. But this is one that started breaking out towards the end of last year. It's kind of like some of the other breakouts I just showed you, where I say that like it needs some more time for consolidation. As you can see on this one, it consolidated and came to this point of pressure right here before it did the full breakout, and then you got that strong move up. Yeah, but this one is breaking down, so it went kind of parabolic up here, and it pulled back. I did not have the guts to go short here, although this was probably a pretty good short. If you could get it at like 65, you would have made 10 points. That was a nice one to play the retracement on it. But anyway, so that setup's done for now. What areas of interest? What would be the areas of interest for me? So I'll just put an alert down there. I actually think it's going all the way back to the breakout zone area. Oh yeah, another thing to keep track of is I probably want to put another trend line alert here. Although this is steepening. I just like drawing these trend lines to keep track of stocks because I can't be looking at these all the time. What I'll do is I'll put the alert in, knock it off my watch list, and I'll go hit it again when the alert comes back. Okay, this one, Huron Consulting. I once interviewed there when I was coming out of college. I wanted to work at that place, but the interview did not pan out. But this one is going strong. I think this one, I might want to research, see what's going on with the fundamental story here. Okay, I'm going to note that one. That's a nice technical setup. Yum Brands, another nice technical setup here. This is a nice long-term breakout. They're moving their headquarters out of Louisville to California. There's probably a lot of speculation coming around along with this stock of the management and what sort of new things the management might bring. So this one is one worth watching. I probably wouldn't want to buy it there, but it probably would have a good pullback opportunity. That's why I have the alerts out on that one. All right. Now here's Jazz Pharma. I don't really do pharmaceuticals too much because a lot of these, I don't understand the news going on behind them. So a lot of these pharmaceuticals I'm not too interested in. And this is like the second step of a breakout from the bottom. So this one I'm going to cross off my list. Not very interesting to me. Okay. MIDD. Ooh, what did this company do? Had my interest a little while ago. Middle B, they make restaurant equipment. Ovens, fryers, stuff like that. I don't know. It broke out to a 52-week high right there, which is how it got on my trading radar. But it's still in the middle of a longer-term range here over the last 5 years. So this one is not very interesting to me. Cool. Still got my alerts on it though, but I'm not going to really pay much more attention to it. It's not an A+ setup. Okay, now I got TLT here, the Treasury bonds. Let's see here. I'm going to try to bring up the Treasury bond chart. Okay, so okay, so looking at where treasuries are, the 10-year yield so when the 10-year yield pulls back, this one tends to go up, And interest rate, the long-term interest rates have been coming down a little bit. So I don't know, maybe 5% was a long-term top. I think politically the Trump administration is probably trying to bring those, and I've read about this on X, the conspiracy theory, I guess, that the government right now is trying to bring the long-term interest rates down so they could refinance maturing debt. If they are successful in pulling that off and they get lower long-term interest rates, then TLT would be a good bet. So I am holding some TLT in my investment portfolio. From a technical standpoint, it's a really sloppy chart. But yeah, it doesn't look bad. I wonder how this looks on a weekly chart. The weekly is much smoother. See, and it looks like it's kind of bottoming right there. I don't know. Or is it like bull flagging to run higher? I don't know. I'd be interested in hearing what you think. Go ahead and type something in the chat if you want. I'll reply to messages in the chat. All right. So we looked at TLT. What is this VICR? That was one that I noted. This is another one of those 52-week breakouts. That's coming off of the bottom. What did they do? VICR. Oh, power converters, like transformers and stuff. It might be an interesting infrastructure play for power generation. I'm just going to keep an eye on it and hit it again later. Okay. AEP hit my list here. Utilities are breaking out. Yeah, so a lot of utilities have been doing really well in this environment. So we have the tech stocks pulling back, and we have utilities like this hitting highs. I'm not sure how much farther they could go. Southern Company, I bought some of this utility here when it had that dip. Con Ed, also a nice dip here to 90, and look, it's back over 100. Duke Energy, another utility I like. It had a little bit of a pullback. I was hoping that would come all the way back here to this downtrend line, but it didn't. Actually, I probably need to adjust this line a little bit, because these trend lines kind of readjust. Okay, it's hard to draw them. Like, trend lines aren't really perfect. Sometimes they work out perfectly, sometimes they don't. But this one keeps trending higher. I have some ED that I'm holding. By ED, I mean Con Ed. But man, the dividend yield isn't too great on it right now. 2.86%. Could they really go much higher? I mean, could it push up to like a 1.8% from here? I don't know. But anyway, since I was talking about utilities and kind of the themes going on right now, why don't we look at some of the chip stocks? I can't believe it's not on my in playlist. All right, ARM. Man, I bought this. This is one stock that's kind of underwater for me right now. My holdings. I thought it was going to break out here when it came to this point. I mean, it looked really great from a technical setup, but then the technical setup failed. Now it came below the long-term trend line. Now, that could be a bad sign, but it also might just mean that this stock is going to get a lot sloppier in the way that it trades and is not going to be as predictable for a while. Now, is 120 bottom for now? I mean, 120 is a nice round number. It might. It's kind of a coin toss on which way it'll go. I like the idea of ARM processors as a long-term investment because I think that architecture is going to be meaningful as more like the PC market switches over to that. I could foresee that possibly happening. So I think like as a company they'll do fine either way with the whether the AI investment stalls out or not. It's probably a good long-term investment, but this is setting up to be a very unpredictable sloppy chart here. But given that we had this kind of a bottom right here, you seem to be getting support in this 115 to 120 area. It's probably a pretty good bet to buy a few long-term shares here if you want some. But I'm kind of fully loaded in my position on ARM. Doesn't really interest me right now. Okay, so IDT, I forgot what this company does. This is an interesting chart. So my process is I have my scanners looking for stocks that are reaching 52-week highs or interesting technical setups, and then that tips me off to do further research on the company. So this is a fintech, a UK company. Oh wait, no, not a UK company. A United States. It says they do business in the United States and United Kingdom. It looks like it's a payment processing thing. Oh, that sounds like a pretty crowded space. I mean, it kind of makes me think of like Square. I don't know about that. This chart's kind of wacky. Not very interesting to me. I mean, that one's similar to Square. Okay. Oh yeah, so about the chip makers. That's what I was looking at. I was looking at a bunch of chip companies. Intel. Yeah, I just don't see Intel going anywhere so much more. It's probably going to be volatile as the news comes out, but as far as technical setups, man, this one's really hard to predict. I have way too many lines on this chart. I think this is probably going to be one that day traders are going to like, kind of like how they like trade stocks like Tesla and stuff, or Nvidia. Wow, Tesla's really hammered. Okay, so how would I draw my trend lines on this one? Yeah, this is a very crude, rough process just for tracking the price movements on stocks, just to see which ones might make interesting trades. No, that's not a good trend line. Because like these trend lines, they tend to get steeper, and then the steeper the trend line gets, I think the more reliable it kind of becomes at predicting a trend change. And kind of like Chef that I showed you earlier was a good example of that. Because with these trend lines, you could see where it picks up speed in one direction, where like Tesla, it was coming down, and then the trend line accelerated, and it's kind of like a rubber band, and the rubber band kind of snaps. It could snap back really hard once it's ready to go again, but I don't think this one is quite ready to go. Let's see what other stocks are in. Wow, this one got smashed. Take that one off my watch list. It's kind of useless. Array Technologies. Was that an IBD 100 last year? I swear it was. Previous trades list. Knock that off my watch list. Okay, here, this apparel company, AS. Okay, this one's pulling back. I'll draw a trend line there. Okay. Hims is a popular one for trading. Wow, that's quite a parabolic there. See, I don't trade stocks like this so much because they're just too crazy. You know, if you try to short a stock like this, and it's moving like that, it could squeeze you out and you eat a massive loss. Because, I don't know, it could have gone from 55 to like 90 or 100 and you'd be down quite a bit then. It's an interesting story, interesting chart, but I'm not interested in trading this one right here. I have to day trade it, but I'm a swing trader, so I kind of stay away from these. Oh yeah, let's look at NVIDIA. So this chart's getting sloppy. And I think it was it Investors Business Daily, IBD, that did the whole stage thing? I read about somewhere, but there's several types of there's like a life cycle that stocks like this tend to follow, where you have like stage one. Oops. So like stage one would be where the stock's in its like consolidation phase. And then stage two, it has its ride up. And that's the best time to be in the stock for as a long. But then you enter stage three, where the stock chart gets really volatile like this. And traders really like this type of action where it's up and down. But usually what happens after a stage three is that you'll have like a zigzag down, and then that's kind of the end of the big bull run. And what could happen is it could set up again and consolidate. You'll get a new cup and handle type of formation. But that could take several years to play out. So I actually think NVIDIA here is done with its run, which is why I'm so uncertain about the direction that ARM's going, because if NVIDIA ends up pulling back, it might pull back some of the other chip companies too, like ARM. So I'm trying to stay away from chip companies. You know, I like Qualcomm as a company. It's an interesting investment, but I mean, like, this is probably not going anywhere. It's probably going to get dragged down with the rest of the chip sector. One that I do find to be really interesting, though, that is continuing to trend up here is Broadcom. Let me see. Oh man, the picture's covering this. Maybe I should move this. Uh-oh. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Maybe I'll move my picture over there on the screen. This might make it easier to draw on these charts. Okay, so like with Broadcom, yeah, I had an order. I bought some down here at 182. This is an interesting area to buy because it came back to the 200 DMA. And then Broadcom, they might actually own Intel's fabs by the time this is over. So that is one of my top watch lists for a 200 DMA support setup. Okay, that's one of my top watches for Monday. Let's see, what else is here on my watch list? Mercado Libre. This is setting up for an interesting like downtrend break here. This pulls back further. This one might be a good buy. Let's see, this one's breaking out. I like that setup. I wouldn't say it's like an A+ setup, but it's an interesting one. So chat, oh hey chat, hi, I remember you investing in Sweet Green, me too. Yeah, let's take a look at that Sweet Green chart. Alright, so I actually sold out my Sweet Green. That visit I had to the store was not very convincing. I don't know, I don't see it being the next Chipotle unless they could like somehow make the bowls more affordable. Because that meat was just not very good. I mean, I want to see him succeed, but man, this one I had to eat a loss on this stock because it looked like it was going to break out, and then that breakout failed, and then it broke this 200 DMA support here, and this is what kind of fooled me. I thought it would get support here, so I started buying some more, but man, usually they don't come down this hard. It's probably, I think it might be like stopping here for a little bit. It might consolidate, but I don't see it, you know, I'm not in a rush to like buy it because I think it's going to remain here for a while, especially if the market's really hard and we have difficult economic times, and maybe that's why it's down, because if they're laying off like lots of people, who's going to be able to afford like a $18 salad? So I don't know, like I think there will be, if it's going to be a long-term survivor, I think there will be better times to buy it. So I'm out for now. I'm going to deploy that capital into other stocks. Like I think MP is probably a better place to put my money, or Avgo is probably a better short-term setup. I mean, I could take that money that I had in SG and put it into this, and then, you know, if I could get the run from like 180 something to like 230 really quickly. Whereas I think SG is going to be hanging around here for a while. By the way, the other stock that I'm holding that I really got damaged on, and I haven't eaten the loss yet. It's unrealized, but it's Cava. Like, I thought this one was going to take off like Chipotle, but, and maybe it will in the long term, but it's just not the time for these stocks right now. But speaking of which, like, okay, so like here, I'll show you guys like kind of what I'm holding. So I recently bought Cocoa, which makes coconut water. I got Plant Fitness. I've got Uber. I've got this this company called Lore, which is an aerospace company. And I recently bought back the Tempest. That was the Nancy Pelosi stock. Let's take a look at some of those names. So Vita Coco, they've been coming out with really good earnings releases. They've let me see if I can pull up that recent earnings release. Oh, let me trade the news thing crashed. Let me open it up again. It's a recent earnings beat, right? Yeah, doesn't have an opinion here. But anyway, like it came down to a nice technical support area here at the 200 DMA. And what I like about this chart is that you have this nice long-term downtrend line here. And then as I was talking about earlier in this stream, a lot of traders, they like these areas where it gets really tight like that right there. That's usually a sign of a breakout. And then you have that decreasing volume. That's the sort of thing that Minervini calls the volatility contraction pattern. I think this would probably qualify as one. So that's why I bought some. It was doing this breakout and then it had a pullback. So I'm optimistic about this stock. Uber, I think this one's going to be a good long-term investment because, I mean, the only competition they got in the ride-sharing space is Lyft. And Lyft is just, they're like on life support. I think Uber is going to come out the winner in this no matter what. So I think they're a really good long-term holding. Planet Fitness. This is another breakout. It's kind of pulled back here. It's pulled back to the 200 DMA. So I'm watching that. I think this is probably another good buying opportunity. Although, just a little word of caution, this looks a little bit like a bear flag, so it might come down further. I'm going to mark off a little downtrend line here just to keep track of that. But I don't plan on selling my shares in this one. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to stop out there. It's going to take some time. It's probably going to consolidate, but I think eventually this one will turn out pretty good. So this is another one that I liked. This is a small specialty aerospace parts maker. I think they're just down because a lot of the defense stocks are down in general right now. This was really disappointing. I was way up here in the 90s. And then this one came back right to the area where I bought it. So I'm kind of break even on this one right now. But I think over the long term, this one will probably be pretty good. There's a lot of demand for aerospace, especially like those specialty parts like that. Another thing kind of on my radar here is like these defense stocks, they're beat down so much. They might be interesting long-term holdings. Like I'm thinking about getting back into Lockheed Martin. I had some of this in my other account and had a good long-term gain on that. But it look at how it's kind of breaking this long-term trend line. I'll put a note there. Oh, here. Sorry, I missed your other comments. Just met the momentum since it was going up. Bought at 26.6. Yeah, thinking about switching to Cava from Sweet Green. Well, Cava and Sweet Green, they're really correlated. So if if Cava goes up, I have the feeling that Sweet Green will probably go up as well. But Cava is probably a better long-term growth stock. I haven't eaten at a Cava yet, but let's just say I was not impressed with Sweet Green when I ate there. And that space in the mall that they were at, that's a place that has a lot of turnover. So I don't know. I don't know about that one. All right, so let's also take a look at Raytheon. Wow, man, this is quite a trender. Look at that breakout. This is one that I would want to buy in pullbacks. I got out when it started breaking out here. I probably shouldn't have. I probably got out way too soon. Had this in my IRA account. There you could see my sales. I scaled out of it. I was hoping it would come back to like 105, but it never made it back. Let's see. All right. Okay, so what other stocks are of interest? I'll pull up LRCX. Man, look at how this one is just getting slammed. It's like a head and shoulders right here. Yeah, you got like a head and shoulders type pattern. This one's getting slammed. I think this one's going down further. It's not a good time for anything to do with the chip making industry. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to that watch list. Oh yeah, Expedia. Let's take a look at Expedia. Expedia. Yeah, this is another one that looked like it was breaking out the 52-week highs. Well, it was at a 52-week high, but another all-time high. Didn't quite make it though. So a lot of these stocks, unless they actually clear the all-time high, they might need some more consolidation. I have like 5 shares of this, but if it pulls back some more, I might get some more. Let's see, so Expedia off my list. API. Agora. What is how does this end up on my list? Oh, it's a China stock. Not interested. I just noted it. What sort of note do I have on this? API. Nope. Oh. Let's see, I made a note on this back on 2/20. Oh yeah, it was just breaking out for that day. Not very interesting. Okay, take that one off my watch list. Have you ever heard of Credo? Yeah. Okay. So somebody here in the chat asked about Credo losing money from this. Yeah, this was one that was tied to AI. Let's see, what notes did I have on this? I forgot what. Oh yeah, they make data center connection cables. So when the data center stuff was really hot a few months ago, so you had this wave where like there was the quant computing stocks, there was some like so Nvidia started cooling off, but then you had to run in like the quant computing stocks and other like general data center stocks. This was one of them. They're kind of like SMCI, but they make like Ethernet cable adapters and stuff. This one caught my radar because, oh, where's that one scan I have? I had studies. Yeah, so I have my own little indicator I like called the distance from the 13 EMA on the daily chart. Usually when a stock gets too far from the 13 EMA, that's when it kind of pulls back. So this triggered my radar here, but man, it was really strong. And I think it was just blowing out shorts right there. Because, man, December, January were pretty crazy for anything data center related. I did not understand like some of the quantum computing stocks. It's just irrational in my opinion. But this is just one that got caught up in that. Let's see what the market cap is. I think it just got caught up in that data center craze. It's kind of a small cap stock. Right now it's at 7 billion market cap. So that means it doesn't take a whole lot to move this stock. So it got swept up and it's cooled off now. Long term, like, yeah, I've seen a lot of charts like this. And when they go parabolic like that and then they cool off, usually they're broken, and you might have another surge at some point where it comes back up to 60. But what's going to happen is if that happens, people are probably going to actually. So see the volume profile here. So this volume profile, this shows you like where all the trading took place at different price points. Usually, when you have like these zones that are support resistance, you have that dip in the graph. That's usually the point that places retrace to. And then look, that's also like the 50% Fibonacci thing. So you have the Fibonacci people looking at this shit too. See, that's right on 50%. So I could see this like probably coming back to like 60, but I don't know about a long-term investment. Like, I try not to drink the Kool-Aid on these stocks unless it's a really proven stock. But I mean, they just get so hyped up. Let's see what sort of ratios it's trading at. So the analyst estimates, the median estimate is 80, so it's below that. But look, it was above 80 not too long ago. And see, these analyst ranges, they could change overnight. They could change really quickly. But what I'm looking here is for like what the forward PEs are. Forward PE. Where's the price to sales ratio? Revenue growth. They're growing really fast, which is good. Expected to double in 2025. But it's like trading at like an 80 PE. I mean, that's comparatively expensive. So it's a pricey stock, even at the price that's at now. And the thing is, like, we're just in kind of a market right now where these stocks are just not that... They're not popular right now. Like Palantir, like... Man, this looks like it's kind of broken. I'm not sure if we'll see it back over 100 again for a while. And then they have like the insiders selling. That's like not a good sign. There. I'll probably just put an alert there. I'd say like Palantir, if you get a surge above like 90, that might be a good consideration for a short. PEG is 0.52 now, so it looks cheap. Well, see, that's the problem, is when a stock that was really hot for a while gets cheap, it's often a value trap because it could get cheaper. You know, like Cisco. Oh, I'm not sure if this thing could take us back to what the 90s was, because that was so long ago. But, I mean, if you look at that Cisco chart from a long time ago, let's pull this up. Where was it in the 90s? Rewind this on Cisco. Let's see if they have the chart on Cisco going back that far. It doesn't look like they have data. Yeah, but I mean, Cisco is one of those stocks that became like a value trap. I mean, it's still a legit business, but doesn't trade at that valuation. All right, so let me see what else I had on this watch list. Oh, Accenture. Yeah. So this is one that I bought this breakout, and then I sold it pretty quickly for break even because when they started like laying people off from government, I was like, oh, you know, from a fundamental standpoint, that might hit a lot of their contracts. It'd be interesting to see what happens when the earnings come out. So the earnings are coming out on the 20th. That would be an interesting earnings release to pay attention to. I'll mark that one on my calendar. 3:20 after hours Accenture earnings. Okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they say is the impact on all the government cuts on their business. Here's another good one that's been popular, Reddit. Okay, so that one's coming back down. Do I want to redraw this trend line? I don't know. I'm just gonna see if it bounces. I think this is one that could come all the way back down to where the IPO area is. But I don't see a setup here, so I'm not going to trade it. Alright. So going back to my watch list, what else do I have? MD. No, that one's not interesting to me. What notes do I have on MD? I was just watching it for technical reasons. Nothing there. I'm going to bump that off my list. Speaking of MD, let's take a look at AMD. Jeremy Lefebvre likes this one and keeps telling you to buy it. I don't know if he's going to get so lucky on this. I'm holding some AMD. I was buying up here. And this is one of my swing trades that isn't working out so good. I probably should have stopped out sooner. I stopped out. I ended up stopping out a lot of my position when it was like breaking down there. I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of broken. And not only that, but all the other tech stocks were pulling back. The chip stocks were pulling back then too. Man, this one could still keep going down. I bought a little bit at 99, but I'm just hoping that we get a little surge up to like 105 so I can recover a little bit of my loss. So I kind of skipped some of this downright right there. Let's see what else is interesting. DEA. What do they do? This one get on my watch list. Semiconductor IP licensing. Oh, IP licensing. There was some sort of news on this. Let's see what it was. ADEA. They have some positive press release on 226. Wait, that was before earnings beat, so they beat earnings. Okay. I don't know about this one. If it comes back, I might do a little fundamental research and see why it's running. Oh yeah, let's take a look at Intuitive Surgical now. This is an interesting one. So I really like this company because they have a unique product that's very essential to hospitals. Surgical technology, they have a lot going on now incorporating AI into that. There's going to be a lot of advancements in robotics. I think things could just keep getting better for Intuitive Surgical. As far as risks, you know, healthcare is pretty expensive. Could they keep growing? You know, how inelastic is the demand? But I don't know. These companies, they manage to keep growing the revenue and charging more for their products. So I think this is a good long-term holding. And I like that pullback to the 200-day moving average. So I am putting that. I did buy some for my portfolio here, but I might be interested in buying some more. Oh wow, I got a 514 fill. Nice. Yeah, so I think like even though like SPY is kind of downtrending, we did have this pullback to the 200 DMA. We might see a little bit of a bounce here. So even in a bear markets don't go straight down all the way. There's like a little bit of good news, so it'll bounce back, and then it'll probably consolidate for a while, and then you have like the next leg down. So even if we get a really bad bear market, it's not going to happen right away. I mean, just look at what happened in 2022. See how zigzaggy this was? You had the top, and then it pulled back, and then it bounced some, and then it pulled back just a little bit more, and then it looked like it was done, and it came back up over the previous, breaking the lower high, and then it disappointed everybody again, and then when you see action like this where it's skipping days down, that's when it's like completely breaking the longs, and it wasn't too far off from the bottom here. So it was this day here, I think 10-13 or so. That was like around the time that they had like a Fed meeting, the FOMC. Usually that's when they flip the switch. So I think the market's probably in a bear market right now because it had such a good run, but it's not going to be a straight down ride. And you could probably get into a lot of good stocks right now for the bounce. Let's see. Oh man, this DraftKings one didn't work out too well for me. Let's see, Nokia, they got some hype going on there. But this is like of the penny type of stocks, this one's interesting to me because they have a new CEO, and you got this cup and handle sort of thing forming here. So Nokia, that would be one to watch. I have a small position in that. Let's see. CRISPR, nah, that's not too interesting. Let's see, Quest Diagnostics. All right, this is kind of like John Deere. It's another good solid breakout. I like how this one is holding up right here. I'd be a buyer if it pulls back some more. I did ride some shares in my other account from at the breakout point, and then I sold at like 174. But I'd want to see another pullback before getting in again. Let's see, Logitech. Yeah, that's not interesting. TYL. Tighter Tech, that's a consulting firm. Yeah, probably going to have Accenture type problems if my thesis is correct. But I'll just put on alerts here. See if it moves later. Hey chat, is there anything else that you want me to cover? I'm just going through a bunch of charts that were recently interesting, seeing where they are and marking off the levels so that if they cross any trend lines, I'll whip out my phone and make a quick decision if I want to buy. Let's see here. UNH. That one's coming off of a nice little bottom here. I kind of like this. You have that big volume spike, and it's slowly coming back up here. Could probably come all the way back to 520 pretty easily. What else we got? Upstart. Oh man, this chart looks broken. Look at that. All right, let's take a look at Shopify. This one will get interesting if it comes back down to 90 at the 200 DMA area. That off. Let's see what else we got. Oh, I did have Cisco on my notes here for the upside break. That one, yeah, I'll just put a trend line on it and watch that. Okay. Let's see what else. Is there anything you want me to look at, chat? Digital Ocean. Not an A+ setup. Not an A+. I was gonna put a box on this one. Oof. Man, so you asked me about CRDO earlier. Stocks like that, I would group in the same category as this. Something hypes up the retail crowd about it. It gets really exciting for a while, and then it could just go bananas with the price. I mean, look at SMR. Went from like $6 up to like the 32. That's like a 5 times increase. And then what happens is all the people that bought up here, you know, when this thing starts cooling off, like they get all panicked. And then everybody who bought above this level here becomes a seller because they're just trying to recover their investment, because they're like, oh shit, what did I just buy? Once the reality sets in and it sinks like this. So like, you got so much overhead supply that a stock chart like this is going to be broken for a while. This is stage 3 of the stage 4 decline. And this is a company with no revenues. Like all their revenues are like future promises. Let's look at their financials. I mean, they have some revenue, but it's like nothing substantial. For 2024, they made $37 million. And what's the market cap? 4.1 billion? You know, there's nothing there right now. It's all speculation. Let's see. Cake. Okay. I think this one's coming down further. Oh, yeah. So, some of the other breakouts that I like are with the stock and commodity trading exchanges. So, NASDAQ, this one is coming back to the breakout zone right here. And that's actually pretty healthy. And it's, you've got the 200 DMA support coming in on it. Another thing about NASDAQ is that they're switching to 24-hour trading. What do you think that's going to do to trading revenues? Man, I think this one's a buy. Let's see. Did my buy order get triggered? Yeah. I gotta buy some more of this shit. Let's see here. So I bought some. Okay, so my order there got triggered. I like this. How much I got? I got 45 shares. I'll get some more down here. Put that order in advance. I'll add to that position. Okay. Another stock that's of interest to me is CME. I'm trying to load up on this position as well. Another nice breakout. And then also with trading, that theme is Intercontinental Exchange. This one has gotten a little bit far away from the breakout zone, so I would only be interested in it if it pulls back, and I've already got my alerts on that. Let's see, what else is in play? HHH. This is the one that Bill Ackman's after. He wants to turn this into the next Berkshire. I don't know if that's going to happen. But, you know, if Bill Ackman wants to buy this for $85, I'm kind of surprised that's not trading up closer to that. Let's see, okay. Logics. Not very interesting. This is a medical equipment screening, like breast cancer screening equipment and stuff like that. Not very interesting of a chart right now. What's Hut 8? Where's that one on my watch list? Put it on there a while ago. Oh, it's Bitcoin. Nope, Bitcoin's done. This was a pump. Okay. Let's see, what other interesting ones in here? Here's an insurance company. This one just keeps on going. Lowe's. Now, the thing about this one is that there's nothing really compelling to want to buy it. I've made money on trading this one before when it hit this like 52-week high thing here in the downtrend line breakout, but it was just a quick trade from like here to there. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on this one for now. Medtronic. This one was kind of breaking out. Okay, so it's continuing the breakout. Yeah, so for anybody just joining right now, what I'm doing is I'm just going through stocks that were recently on my watch list, and I'm coming up with like just a quick look at where the chart is from a technical analysis standpoint and seeing if it's something of interest to me. So what my process usually is I have some screeners that tell me like my 52-week high screener to tell me if a stock is breaking out to a certain price level, and then so I'll flag it and I'll add it to my watch list. And then I go back and then I evaluate the chart from a more wholesome perspective of like, do I like the overall chart? So like this one recently had a 52-week high, and it's kind of breaking out from this lower trading zone. Sometimes you could get a good trade, a decent trade coming out of a breakout like this. But then I'll also put some research into it later to try to figure out if there's like a fundamental reason that the stock is moving. Yeah, so this is one that I probably want to add to my research list. And yeah, I'm mainly just streaming and doing this for me to help me coordinate my research. And if anybody has a stock that they want me to look at and give you an opinion on the technicals, I'd be happy to do that. But this is just for discussion about stocks. All right. Another consulting firm. Okay, this one's really crashed. Yeah, Booz Allen, they've got a lot of government contracts. Probably getting hit hard with cuts. Okay. This one's in paint coating on cars. I don't see this one really going anywhere. It looked like it was going to break out, but that breakout failed. Alright, well, let's see. I've been streaming here for, hold on now, over an hour. I think that's a pretty good overview of the stocks. Anyway, if you like this and you found this to be useful, give me a like, leave some comments, and I guess I'll see you on another weekend. Don't forget to like and subscribe.